Now, according to the article of impeachment, President Trump is accused of inciting an insurrection because of his remarks on January 6, quote, he willfully made statements that in context encouraged and foreseeable resulted in lawless action at the Capitol, such as if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore. Just think about how crazy that is. Democrats are officially trying to remove a former president from an office he no longer holds because he told his supporters to fight like hell. And by the way, he also said at the rally, now many of you will peacefully and patriotically march to the Capitol to make your voices heard. Keyword, peacefully. And of course, that part is always conveniently left out of the impeachment article and what the mob and the media tells you. So if this is the new standard for incitement to insurrection, then when will we begin the process of holding everyone in the Democratic Party and the left accountable for their words and actions? Because the list is long. And as you might imagine, they frequently encourage their supporters, believe it or not, they encourage this, to fight like hell. Well, we did a little background check and we found out, fairly common term. Take a look.
What does Congress do about this?
We fight. We keep fighting.
We're going to keep fighting and fighting and fighting for this.
That doesn't mean we don't fight. I think we have to fight harder than ever.
We know this is going to be a hard fight. It's going to be a competitive fight.
We should dream big, fight hard, and take back our country.
This is a fight of our lives.
Stand up and fight for the best of who we are. And I'm prepared to fight, and I know how to fight.
But I'm ready for that fight. Increasing numbers of people are ready for that fight.
Stand up and fight for democracy.
I will fight every day until he is impeached.
There's only two ways to win a fight. You can win a fight through submission or through exhaustion.
We can't just imagine a better future. We've got to fight for it.
We continue to fight for a progressive agenda in our future.
That's what we're fighting against when we fight Republicans in Congress who don't want to pass legislation now.
This is time for every single one of us to get up and fight for our country.
This new freshman class in Congress has got to come in and really set the agenda and fight.
And Obama said, if they bring a knife, we bring a gun. Keep in mind what you just saw pales in comparison to the violent rhetoric from several top Democrats, although many Democrats have made similar comments. We start with Chucky Schumer. He physically threatened two U.S. Supreme Court justices right on the steps of the United States Supreme Court building based on his standards. Chuck Schumer needs to be impeached. Republicans, you ought to put forward the article. If you're going to follow their standards, Maxine Waters encouraged her supporters to harass and attack White House employees, remember, and follow them into the grocery store and create a crowd and get in their faces. They're not wanted anywhere anymore. And don't forget, she also said, I'm going to take Trump out tonight. That sounds like a threat of murder. Joe Biden openly fantasizing about taking a sitting president, Donald Trump, behind a gym and beating the hell out of him. That sounds like a threat. Sounds insurrectionist. And almost every Democrat excused, ignored, or condoned the violent riots from over the summer. So let's focus now on applying these same standards to all of these Democrats, and we'll start tonight with one person in particular. Now, remember days after a Minneapolis precinct was burned to the ground, and then the violent riots that ensued, and they were wreaking havoc on multiple cities, including Minneapolis. And then Senator Harris said, they're not going to stop. And everyone, you beware. They're not going to stop. Remember, police precinct was just burned down. Remember, they were just in the middle of rioting. They're not going to stop before the election day in November. They're not going to stop after Election Day. And everyone, you need to take note of that on both levels. They're not going to let up. They should not, and we should not. Oh, my gosh. Wow, to that end, well, Kamala Harris even promoted a bail fund to get violent rioters involved in the insurrection out of jail. According to a brand new FoxNews.com report tonight, one accused rioter was bailed out twice thanks to this fund, the one Kamala Harris supported. And wouldn't you believe it? He's just been arrested for yet a third time. Remember, according to Kamala, they're not going to let up even after the election. They shouldn't let up. Vice President Harris was clearly calling for insurrection. Is Vice President Harris not guilty of incitement? If we apply the Democratic Party standards and she's actually in office, well, you can actually have a real impeachment, one that's constitutional. She can be removed from office, and John Roberts will have to preside.